You know what it is.
Yo, I got tracks like I'm on that heroin, and bitches think they better.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is TheRize with Brooklyn Jones. Oh my God, I'm so excited about today's guest. He's a dude that I really, really admire. I've been knowing him since I moved onto the LA comedy scene about 7 years ago. It's been a minute. And he's always been mad cool, inspiring. He's a dope ass comedian. He is the host of Chocolate Sundaes at the Laugh Factory in Hollywood, and one of the stars of Partner in Rhyme on AllBlk. Y'all, it's comedian Ron G.
Hey, what's up, B? How you doing?
What's up, man? It's so
It's
good
been
to
7
talk to
years.
you. Yeah, I've been out here for a minute. I was like, yo, what the hell I've been doing all of this time? But you know what? When I first got out here, I was trying to get my life together. Like, not even comedy. I was just trying to get like a place to live. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So how long did that take? 'Cause I feel like we didn't really connect to like 2019, maybe pandemic.
Yeah. It took me a couple of years because at first I was like sleeping on like couches
Couch
and
surfing,
air
yeah.
mattresses, yeah. And I was staying with Flex and Shanice.
Yeah.
And that's when they got the
Great
reality
people.
show, and I was actually on the reality show as their like house crashing house guest, which was
That's
crazy.
funny. You a whole house
Yeah.
cat out here?
Huh?
You a house cat?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it took a minute. I was like trying to get a place to live and a steady income, which is always tough. Like, even as a comedian, comedy ain't gonna be your income at first. You know what I'm saying?
That's the hardest part about LA, but nobody talks about it. Like in New
Yeah.
York, I feel like if you're on the East Coast, you can go up and down the East Coast and actually pay rent off doing stand up. LA is a showcase city. Like you'll probably get maybe $20 on a good day
Yeah.
per show, but finding the other hustles to pay your rent is the hard part. But once your foot is planted in comedy, it leads to so much other stuff, and there's no ceiling once you're in the system. But before that, you on suicide watch and tearing up your car trying to get these Uber Eats
Right.
deliveries going.
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm quite in the system yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, people know
Take
me.
time.
I get little gigs here and there, but they don't know me yet. So I'm still like heavy on my grind. People don't realize like the comedy grind takes forever. Like, you'll see somebody blow up and you like, oh, they blow up out of the blue. Where'd they come from? I ain't never heard them before. And then you hear their story and they like, yo, I've been doing this for 10 years.
Been here the whole time. I feel like LA, you don't really get no. It take at least 5 to kind of like find your footing out here, and probably
Yeah.
10 before things start popping.
Yeah. So it's I'm working it. I'm figuring it out.
Yeah, but you're doing the right things, and I think with social media too, there is no line anymore. A long time ago, there was a line. You had to wait in line for your success. Now with social media, you can be a whole star and not even need Hollywood if your numbers are right.
Yeah, you get one good viral video and your ass is up
I
there.
don't know about one, but you can at least do a tour, and you'll be eating in the meantime to where they'll come looking for you versus you looking for them.
Right. That's true. It's a lot. I'm still trying to figure out like my niche. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm flying by the seat of my pants out here, but
We can talk about it. I'm actually great at helping people find their voice because when I see young comics, especially when they have the thing, the hardest part about comedy to me is finding your voice.
yes.
It's almost like social media. Like people that do well on social media, they found their lane and they stay in their lane.
Right.
Once you find your lane, that's your thing, and you lean into it. Stand up is the same way, but we just be saying funny stuff, and funny is cool because everybody's selling hamburgers. What's the difference between McDonald's and Burger King? It's like your seasoning, your sauce, and your sizzles. You know what I'm saying? So stand up is like finding the thing that you like to talk about that builds a fan base for yourself. For me, like mine is relationships and family stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like I know my jam is relationship stuff, and like that parlayed into me doing radio shows, podcasts, and then doing the show with my wife because I love relationship stuff.
Really?
Yep.
How did you find your voice though? Like, how did you know that was your jam? Like,
Because when I do stand up, I always encourage young comics to talk about stuff you genuinely like talking about. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes people be doing politics, and I'm like, why are you doing politics if that ain't your jam? Like,
yeah.
why are we doing Trump jokes and Trump is not in office? Why are we doing Obama jokes and Obama's not in office? Like, find the thing that you like to talk about, because the thing with comics, we get tired of our material real quick. But for me, I talk about stuff I care about. I talk about my family. I talk about my marriage. I talk about relationships because I always care about it, and I'm invested in it because I'm watching, people around me. And me and my wife went through 15 of our friends went through a divorce within our 2 years of marriage. So
15?
watching this stuff, 15, like
Dang.
legit people, good people. It ain't even they bad people. It's just good people. But marriage fell apart in front of our eyes. I'm like, I can't not talk about it because it's happening. Just
It's
kind of
probably
like
the
majority
pandemic. You said in the past 2 years.
past 2 years.
They're like, I'm
Yeah, that's
sick
part
of
of it
you.
too.
I'm sick of looking at your ass. Get
Oh,
out. Go do something.
pandemic gave people receipts for what they signed up for. Some people
Yeah.
marrying people because they cute and realized they didn't like them, and you marrying people because they got money, but then their restaurant went under. So what you really got? Like, are you really in it for
Yeah.
them? So
You gotta
and
really like a person. That happens to
yeah,
me a lot. Like I'll date somebody because they cute. I gotta stop
yeah,
doing that because then I'll be like, I don't
yeah,
really like you. Like you talk too much or you stupid. Or
yeah,
something like I gotta
yeah,
start looking deeper
yeah.
because
And you
I'm too
calling the
focused
opposite
on
sex trash, and then you realize you on lockdown by yourself, and you don't like your company. So you like, oh, it's me.
yeah, that's true.
Yep.
Yeah, so finding your voice. My voice definitely ain't gonna be relationship stuff because I'd be single as hell. Maybe my voice is the life of a single person at all times.
That's dope, but don't live in it though. If you
Nah,
want a relationship, you can't. Them words matter, man. That's what I'm learning about comedy. You got to speak kind to yourself. With this career we chose,
yeah.
spell is spelling. Like
Mm.
spelling is a spell. Like literally, the word spell is casting a spell in your life. So I don't be doing no broke jokes. I don't talk
I
about
got a lot
divorce.
of broke
And
jokes. Maybe I need to stop
I
telling them.
talk highly about myself. I talk about I used to be broke, but I don't talk about being broke now. I mean, I know it's popular to do that. Just like talking about how terrible your relationship is. Like
Because
that's
it's really
popular.
about talking about the current status of your life. But let me ask you this. When you stopped telling broke jokes, were you broke? And did you just start saying I used to be broke even though you was broke at the time?
I was doing better. But
Okay.
money still was a little funny. But talking about being broke, I feel like everybody relate to it. But I
Yeah.
don't speak currently like I'm broke. Even if my money funny,
Mm.
I still don't. I don't speak brokenness or anything negative over my life at all.
Oh, I gotta write my jokes over. I gotta write
Just
my
it's
broke
just my
jokes
two
over.
cents. Because I feel like you live in it, especially when you always call, if you always say all men are dogs or all women are dogs. I feel like when you live in that, that energy
Yeah.
gives off whether you say it or not. So the person that you're trying to pursue and do life with, they can feel that you don't respect them and you don't have any regard for them. They can feel it whether you say it or
Mm.
not. Especially women, y'all feel, somebody ain't all the way there. You know if a guy ain't already checked. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
Like
yeah. I'm an
So
intuitive person in general. So I could just feel people in general. Not even if I'm dating somebody. Like sometimes I'll just be hanging out with somebody and they're really nice, but I'm like, I don't like them. Something ain't right. Like I feel they vibe,
yep. And
you
younger
know?
you would investigate it. Younger me would investigate.
Hmm.
You ever meet somebody and you don't hang out with them, but you don't know why, and you finally hang out with them and you realize why you never hung out with them?
Yeah. Like,
That's your intuition talking to you. But we
not doing
sometimes we
that no
run that
more.
red light because trying to be nice people and you don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. Like, nah, it's okay.
Yeah. The older you get, the less you care about that though.
That
You're
investigation
like,
make it
I care
crazy.
about my feelings.
Yep.
Because you start sparing other people's feelings and realizing it's, detrimental to your own.
Yep. I used to call myself a weirdo because I didn't want to hurt people's feelings, but I don't think I'm weird. But
Mm-mm.
out here, the things that I think are normal, just like East Coast stuff. Like if you don't
Yeah.
like somebody, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like on the East Coast, if you beef with somebody, it's okay. Yo, you ain't friends with their friends, like it's okay. But out here, people hate you, invite you to baby showers, put you on shows. You like, if you hate me,
Yo.
why are you fooling with me? Like, why is it
Yo, I have
so?
a whole bit about that, about how like one of my friends came up to me. She was all mad and she was like, yo, this person did all of this stuff to me and I don't like them no more. And I'm like, yo, we gonna give them hell when we see them. And then we see them and I'm being mad shady to them because they did my friend wrong. And then my friend over there like smiling and taking selfies with her. I'm like, yo, what? And they both looking at me like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, well, I thought we was mad. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Yeah.
different out here.
In our career too,
They be mad
you got to
behind
be
your back.
mindful because anybody can be your boss tomorrow.
That is a
In
fact.
comedy, anybody can be your boss tomorrow. So if I got something against somebody, I usually about it with my wife. I don't talk to another comic because they will
Oh
definitely
no.
leverage that and use that against you later on.
Yeah, I don't be talking to no comics. I don't talk to anybody about anyone. Especially out here. This world is too small. Somebody do something to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
I
being
tell
with your
my
person.
mom, I'll be like, Mommy, guess what they
You tell
did?
your mama.
I
You
tell
tell
my
your
mom,
mama.
I was like, Mommy,
No,
they
I know
hurt
you
my
don't know who this
feelings.
is, but first of all, they took out the part of my joke that they knew would work because I know it because they saw me do the joke. And then what happened was your
Yo,
mom
I
be like, I
dead
don't know
ass be
who it is,
telling my
baby, but
mama.
bless you. I don't know
Right.
who that
But my
is, but
mom's
bless you.
crazy though. So she the person like want me to go down there. Like she'd be ready to fight. I'm like, nah, ma, please don't go down to the
Yeah.
comedy club trying to slap nobody up.
Yeah. Hey, I got a question for you, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of New York comics don't do well out here. One, because New York is such a unique place, and once you've been performing in New York so long, like doing Jamaican and Dominican jokes, they don't really translate out here because there's no Jamaicans and Dominicans like that.
Right.
Also, the New York energy, the in your face comedy, don't work in LA because people be super sensitive. They dress like they chill and happy and liberal, but they be just as sensitive and racist as anybody else.
Right.
Um, have you had a hard time trying to transition to the style, not the style of comedy, but the energy of comedy out here?
Um,
If that makes any sense at all?
Honestly, not really. Well, when I started in New York, I had only done it for about a year in New York, and
Oh yeah, you
I
still a
wasn't
baby.
I wasn't like deep into it, and I was still like trying to figure things out. So then my house burned down in New York, and I was
No
like, well,
way.
yeah. So I was like, well, I don't have anything out here, and I always wanted to start over. I mean, I always wanted to live in LA. Since I got to start over anyway, I'm gonna start over there. So most of the comedy that I've done was here, so I haven't really had that. My more it was more of a transition, my personality off the stage. You know what I'm saying? Because in New York, we mad aggressive out there. Just like the way we talk, we just be talking, but we just sound aggressive. So people used to be taken aback, like, yo, why you so aggressive? Why you talking at me? And I'm like, yo, I'm just talking. So I
Yeah,
feel like I had to
that's a
just,
part of it too. The comedy is
yeah,
like that too.
yeah. I felt like I had to relax a little bit more. Um, just talking to people in general. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
on stage,
You figured it out? Or you still working through that?
what, talking to people?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I have a balance because I still have like my New York rough edge, but I guess I've calmed down a little bit. It wasn't really an effort though. I think it's just a product of my environment. Just being here, it's a little more laid back. So eventually I
Yeah.
settled into that.
Yeah. It's funny to
Yeah.
watch. But I also feel
Yeah.
like in LA too, LA is a place where you can discover who you really are.
Mm-hmm.
And all your things that all the luggage and tools that you pick up along the way, you get a chance to unpack them because on camera, you might have to be the softer version of yourself. But in real
Yeah.
life, you never had a chance to be that. So if you don't explore that in your personal life, you don't have, you can't go to your toolbox and pull it out if you need it for a role.
Yeah, that's true. Did you take acting classes?
Absolutely. I take it
Okay.
often.
You do?
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah, it's a part of this thing, man. I feel like acting is the long money in LA. Like
Yeah.
comedy is the short money. Like you'll always make money doing stand up, but I feel like acting is the long thing that a lot of comics don't work on the craft. Like I pursue acting just as much as I pursue comedy. I love comedy, but I
Yeah.
love acting too.
Yeah, I that's what I've been working on. I've been taking acting classes, and it's rough because I'm a comedian, so I'm used to being like the funny, goofy person. But then when you got to tap into your emotions, that's when it gets a little different, a little awkward. But
But
it's
why is that
the
awkward
classes
though?
definitely help.
Why is that awkward?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just I can't say that it's hard for me to show my vulnerable side because I'm a very like vulnerable and sensitive person
Are
in
you really
general.
though?
I
Are you
am.
really?
I
Okay.
really am. You
With who?
haven't
Your
spent a
mama?
lot of time with me. No, you only see me at the comedy club. Of course, I ain't all
Don't
vulnerable,
holler. Don't
sweet at
holler
the.
at me. I'm asking questions. Don't you holler at me.
I swear to you, like anybody who knows me well, like talks to me every day, they like, yo, you got a tough exterior, but you're actually really sensitive and sweet. So I am a
Isn't
sensitive,
that most
sweet
women though?
person, huh?
Isn't that most women though?
I don't know. Some women are assholes, but I don't know. It's just I don't know. I guess showing it on camera maybe it's kind of weird
So,
in front of an audience, because like
so
when you
this
feel vulnerable, that's kind of private.
So this is the thing I was telling you about comedy. Comedy, LA is dope because you have to work on personal growth. In order to be dope at your craft, you got to learn how to work on yourself. And it's the offstage work that makes you great on camera. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like I go to therapy, me and my wife be sitting here talking about our junk in front of the world on social media. And the more in tune you are with who you are, it gives your voice more, it fine tunes your voice on stage, which I was telling you about finding your voice, and then also on camera. And again, if you don't have access to that in your personal life, it's real hard to do it on camera. And I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of times, especially when you see comics who never change their set, like I saw a comic the other day, probably like 2 weeks ago, do a comic view set easily 90 something. Like I
Yeah.
I enjoyed this personal comic view when I was a kid and I saw them in the 90s do the set and they did the exact same set and I'm like,
You're like, bro, that was 30 years ago.
right, but I'm like this whole LA is a sandbox. It's a sandbox to find out who you genuinely are because there's no accountability. You
Hmm.
don't have your usual your home tribe because your home tribe, they know you well. Your friends back
Hmm.
home might call you on your stuff, but if you're successful out here, nobody gonna call you on your stuff because you're making the money and they have access to you. So you
Hmm.
gotta you gotta govern yourself and figure out where your line, your limit, and who your God is out here. Because I grew up around small town Jesus. Small town Jesus don't like no gay people. Small
Right.
town Jesus don't like people who don't got holes in their pants. Small town Jesus is very judgmental. Small town Jesus looks like this one thing, but out here none of the stuff that I was raised with works out here. Like it doesn't work. Like
Right.
you're around so many people that don't look like you. You have to learn how to adapt like that. And then for me, I had to find out who my Jesus was out here, and learn how to discover who I am. So the more in tune and the more work I did in my personal life out here, it makes me a lot of money. Because I thought in the South, you're tough. Everybody kind of you raised by your grandparents. You go to church and you got a little hood to you, but you're still Southern.
Yeah. Yeah.
Out here, discovering that I'm a sensitive guy, like, my pops was an alcoholic. So I think the children who are the product of substance abuse parents usually want to be really sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and when I was trying to work through my stuff and I met girls, I remember this girl, she was like, "You way too sensitive for me." And I was like, "Yo, you said something really reckless, and I'm telling you how I feel. I'm giving you the
Yeah.
cheat sheet to my heart." And she was like, "Yeah, but you way too." I'm like, "No, I'm not too sensitive. I'm telling you how I feel." I said, "What you
Yeah.
don't want is a silent man, because a silent man is very dangerous and can have a whole other family, and you don't know it. And I'm telling you when I
Mm-hmm.
need to be happy, and you running a red light, acting like I'm not telling you how I feel."
Yeah.
And
That's one thing I
then,
admire about you
yeah,
though. Like you always express yourself, how you feel. You know what I'm saying? I noticed that about you,
thank
and
you.
I'm like, that's a real dude. Like he
Thank
tells
you.
you what he feels in his heart, and a lot of dudes are not like that.
Yeah,
So,
I teach through my transparency and my vulnerability. Even the thing me and my wife do, I don't tell people what they should do, like, because I don't have all the answers because I'm married. I just made a
mhm,
lot of mistakes. So me and my wife talk about our ugly and our junk before we give advice on anything we should do. I never tell people you should do this. I'll start asking questions. One, like I'm talking
mhm,
to you, I ask
mhm,
you a lot of questions, and then I'll tell you what I did. You know what I'm saying? But I feel
mhm,
like people learn through watching transparency of others, but a lot of people don't do that. But I'm saying for you
right.
specifically, there is a little girl that you probably never had access to, because New York is a very tough city. You got to keep these layers on and you can't let your guard down. But out here, that part of you that you really haven't tapped into will make you a lot of money once you figure out how to do it.
Mm, that
If
makes
that makes
sense.
any sense at all.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And it's
It'll make you
funny
a lot
because
of money.
my acting coach always tells me, he even says it to the class. He's like, Brooklyn is like, if you look at her, she's like this tough exterior Brooklyn girl. But if you look close, she's like a whole little girl. He's like, you just want to hug her. Like he always says that. So it's funny that you
Yeah.
specify like there's a
And it's
little girl
not
inside of you.
magical. It's just you being
Yeah.
having access to the person you really are. Like I'm the kid who went to college, but I'm from the hood. So I
Mm-hmm.
had to learn how to walk both lines, where you're around dope dealers all the time and you still had to be tough, and I had to learn how to be both things. But in that environment, you don't have the luxury of taking your putting your guard down. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
out here, all those things. I did a whole TED talk about this. I did a TED talk to kids about making your weirdo work for you, and the stuff that made me
Mm.
weird as a kid now make me money.
Mm. What small town are you from?
South Carolina. I'm from Columbia, South Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So when you moved out here, like what made you move out here?
I know it sounds weird, but I feel like God told me. I lived in Atlanta and I stayed broke the whole time, and I kept getting fired from every job I ever had.
What
And
kind
it
of
didn't
jobs
know.
did you have?
I used to be an accountant.
Oh,
I
really?
graduated with a degree in finance and management, and I used to be an accountant. And every finance and accountant job I got fired from, I was like, this don't make sense. And
Mm-hmm.
while I kept getting fired, I got on stage because my cousin told me to, and I got booed and I fell in love. And I was like, I'm gonna figure this thing out. And I just stuck with it. And I feel like one day I had a meltdown because I was like, I call it the quarter life crisis, where I was good at a bunch of stuff, but I wasn't great at nothing. And I was so
Mm-hmm.
frustrated because trying to fit into this American dream of you go to school, you get a job, you get married, you make babies, you retire, and you die, didn't something about it, and doing the exact same thing every day for the rest of your life didn't feel
Yeah.
good. And I got on stage, I fell in love, and I started leaning into comedy. And I had a crossroads where I got engaged, and I had a joke about being engaged to the dream snatcher. Basically, this girl, she didn't believe in my dream. I was engaged to her, but she didn't believe in my dream. Like she always like called my dream little. With your little dream, with your little Honda Accord. I'll
Yeah.
support you with your little comedy club and what you trying to do with your little. I'm like, why my stuff got to be little? But I had a moment where I remember sitting on the edge of my bed crying. I was like, God, I'm good at a bunch of stuff, but I ain't great at nothing. Can you please help me find my purpose? And I read the book, The Purpose Driven Life, and I remember my pastor telling me specifically, your purpose is already in you, and your purpose is to help other people. And God
Mm.
doesn't, He's not doing anything magical in your life. He just wants you to be who you are, but do it in Him. And I remember I had a revelation where God was like, you're gonna be a great comedian. He said, you're gonna be a great comedian. I remember this moment clearly, and I was crying. I was like, He was like, your name stands for relying on God. And
Mm.
uh he said, you're gonna be great one day. Your name will be great in comedy, but what are you gonna do about it? And for some reason, I was like, I'm gonna move to LA. Never been to LA, never visited LA. LA was far away from in the South where I'm from. People didn't dream. Like it's just, you know, Comic View and Def Jam was just on TV. It's like way over there. And
Mm-hmm.
the next day, my dad gave me a check for like $500, and I took that check and I bought a ticket to LA. Didn't know nothing about it, and I
Did
went
you
to
have
go
any
hang out.
money besides that?
Nah, I was unemployed. I got fired from every job. I was broke almost the whole time I was in Atlanta. And I remember going to LA, and my buddy from Atlanta at my church home, he was friends with Chris Spencer and got me on Chocolate Sundaes. And Chocolate Sundaes
Wow.
at the time was a 2-year wait at the time, but I went to go visit, did Chocolate Sundaes. I met Michael Collier. Michael Collier was the first comic to give me a microphone. And I met Mike Epps. I'm like, I fell in love. I'm like, yo, this is it. And something got awoke inside of me where I'm like, oh, I'm moving to LA. I didn't know nothing about nothing. And so I came back home and I told my fiance, I was like, hey, babe, because I thought I was going to quit doing comedy because it didn't make sense. I had me
Mm-hmm.
money, I didn't have we money,
Yeah.
and I didn't make enough to like take care of my fiance at the time. And I was like, hey, babe, how would you feel if I moved to LA to pursue my dream? And she was like, that don't make sense. Like, why would you leave LA? You got a home, you got a church home, you got me, and you got to leave all this just to go to LA and pursue a dream? And I was like, you don't believe in my dream.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, I asked God for three things. I said, if I could sell my home, this is right around the housing crisis. I
Oh,
don't know
you
if
had
you
a
know that.
house.
I was a homeowner. I was living the dream. I
Yeah.
was, I said, God, if I can sell my home, uh, get a job in LA and get my pastor's blessing, I'll leave. I got a job over the phone like 2 weeks later, and they held it for 2 months in LA, in Culver
For
City.
2 months.
They,
You were supposed to be here.
I ain't never, they held it for 2 months. I sold my house right before I had a real jacked up loan to my house, and I sold my house. And I asked my pastor, I was like, "Yo, how would you feel if I moved to LA to pursue my dreams?" And he was like, "Look, you got the rest of your life to be in love, man. Go pursue your passion." And I remember having that conversation with my girl, and I was like, "Hey, look, I love you, but I don't think you believe in my dream, and I can't go to a new state, new city, new career with somebody who don't believe in my dream." And I remember
Yeah.
her giving me my ring back, and then I moved to LA.
Wait, did she live with you at the time?
No.
Oh, how about that?
We
You
were going
got
to
to
get
get
married
out.
that
I'm
year.
selling this house.
We were going to get married that year, but the problem was this was back when. That's why I said LA helped me find out who I am. Back then, where if I was with a woman and she cried, I would do whatever she said. So
Mm.
she was like, "We got to plan this wedding," and I'm like, "I didn't even eat today. Like I literally didn't eat, eating grits for like 3 meals, but I didn't want to tell my parents." Um, and she was like, "We got to go look at this," and I wasn't the type of dude to be like, "Nah, we not doing this." So I went along with it. And I'm sitting here grumpy, stomach grumbling, and we looking at fabrics for a wedding. But I told her, I said, "Look, I don't think I can do this." And I remember her giving me the ring back, and I was like, "All right, cool." Moved to LA. Shortly after that, I booked my first TV role as the spokesperson for Checkers and Rally's restaurant.
Oh, wow.
Like my first audition ever. I never.
Did you have an agent or?
This lady out of the blue, like I was working at this place in Long Beach. It was a job I got in Long Beach as an accountant. The most money I've ever made in my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
And my buddy was like, "Hey, look, my friend, she took some time off to raise her son, but she's getting back into being a commercial agent. Would you like to be one of her clients?" I'm like, "Sure, why not?" So she got me an audition, and she said, "Can you make it to this audition?" And I lied and told my boss that my car broke down and I'll be in late. So I went to the audition, came back to work, and I remember the next day she was like, "Hey, look, they love you. They want you to be the spokesperson for this job. Can you make it to Miami next week to shoot 5 commercials?" And I was like, I was
Wait,
only
they
like,
wasn't flying you out. You had to go. You had to bring
no,
yourself
I
out
didn't
there.
have the time off. And she was like, "Can
Oh.
you, make it
Oh, okay.
out next
Yeah.
week?" And I was like, "I
Yeah.
don't know." I just started, I was working for the job for like 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I told the lady no. She was like, "Ron, look, this is the spokesperson. You're the face of the restaurant. You don't want to not do this."
Right.
I was like, ah. And then my mom was coming to town that week. And this is my mom's first time on the plane. And I was like, "Hey, mom, I know this is kind of weird, but I need to go to Miami to shoot these commercials. If I found somebody to show you around LA while I'm shooting commercials, would you be cool with that?" And she was like, "Isn't that why you moved out there?" And I was like, okay. So I had to have the conversation with my boss. And I was like, "Hey, Miss Mary, I know this is kind of weird, but kind of sort of book commercial. Can I go to Miami next week? 2 months on the job." And she said, "I'm gonna just say this. You haven't been here long enough to even ask me that, but if you're not here Monday, you're fired." And this is my how much do you really believe in yourself moment.
Mm-hmm.
Fresh out of LA, this is the most I've ever paid for um, rent ever in my life. Let me back up. Came out here to visit LA because I didn't know where I didn't have a place to stay. I saw one of my frat brothers who went to Clemson, which is the rival with the University of South Carolina, the school I went to. And he's like, "What you doing out here?" And I said, "I'm trying to find a place to stay. I got a job in Culver City, but I don't have a place to stay." He was like, "Yo," he said, "Where you trying to stay at?" I was like, "I'm open to wherever." He's like, "That's crazy. I just bought a condo in Culver City. You can stay with me. I won't even charge you half." I slept where he lived at was literally walking distance from my job.
Wow.
I've known this guy my entire life, but I never we ain't really connect.
Yeah.
I've known of him, and I got an apartment right around the corner from my job, walking distance. And so I told my boss, "Hey, look, all right, cool. Book the commercial." I shot 5 commercials, and that was in '06, and I have not worked a 9 to 5 since May of '06.
Get out of here. That is amazing.
I've had some lean moments, but I've
Yeah.
worked it out where this is all I do, you know. But
y'all see why he's inspiring to me? Oh my God. That is amazing.
Everything lined up. But that's why I tell comics, if God tells you supposed to be out here, anything outside of that is just disobedience. If he told you, because he'll make it happen. I'm not saying just leave your job today, but if you tell God what you need, I feel like he'll give it to you.
Yeah, I still do 9 to 5 sometimes, you know what I mean? Okay. But I never take full-time. I always work temp jobs. So I know there's an end. I'm like, y'all not gonna rope me into doing this forever.
It's okay.
So they're like, oh, it's for 4 months. I'm like, all right, I'll take it. You know what I'm saying? But it's kind of rough sometimes because your job in, you're like, oh shoot, what I'm gonna do. You know what I'm saying? And I've booked commercials, but I wasn't the spokesperson. So, you be in a commercial, you get that money, but then that money dwindles. You get another commercial, you get that money.
Yeah. But have you ever not had what you needed though?
I've been close, but no, I gotta say I've always made it through.
That's all I'm saying. You're in a home right now doing a podcast. This podcast is literally you speaking into existence. I want to do a podcast and interview comics about their journey and their path. You and I met each other. We're having this conversation because you said yes to your dream. So
that's a fact.
Whether you see it or not, you are successful. Whether you see it or not, you are here because you said yes to your dream and you answered the call that God put in your heart. So that's why I tell people success depends on what you make it. You are here in the most expensive place on the planet making things happen and figuring it out.
I came out here with nothing. I came out here with a suitcase full of clothes that smell like smoke. It was the clothes that I could salvage from the fire. That's all I had. And I was like, yo, Shanice, can I stay with you for a couple of weeks so I can see if I can find a job? And she's like, yeah, you can stay with us. They ended up letting me stay with them for 2 months. And while I was there, they were shooting their reality show. The producers were like, we like her. She's funny. Put her on the show. So I went from being homeless with smoky clothes to being on a TV show, as soon as I got out here.
Right. Everybody got a couch story. Most successful people got a couch story. I'm going to work, but I had 2 suits and I was going to work with lint balls in my head because I slept on the floor and didn't have a bed.
I remember I was sleeping on the air mattress because after I left Shanice's house, I didn't move right into my own apartment at first. I stayed with another friend and I had an air mattress. The air mattress used to run out of air. So, and it was on top of a futon because the futon was hard. And I remember I was laying on the air mattress and it was running out of air and I was laying on one side of it and it ran out of so much air that it knocked me off and I fell on the floor. I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
Damn, this is rock bottom right here. But it wasn't rock bottom because I had a friend that was looking out for me, letting me stay with her. I could have been outside in the tent. You know what I'm saying?
And once you're famous, you're never going to be unfamous. So enjoy this journey. These stories is amazing. That's why I said hold on to all these struggle moments because that's going to be your couch story. When you sit on somebody's couch and start explaining your journey, that's it. Yeah. It's weird hearing me say all the stuff I went through because I don't think I've ever told that story to anybody else how God lined up everything and
everything was lined up.
Yeah, it just happened.
Listen to this, talking about lined up. So right before my house burned down, I was staying in an apartment with roommates. So, I was paying rent to the person who the apartment's name was in, right? I lost my job probably a month before that. So I had no money. I wasn't paying them the rent. He's like, well, when you get it, give it to me. I had filed for unemployment. It was some kind of discrepancy. So they're like, yeah, we can't send you your money yet. You know when my money came through? When? The day after my house burned down. That was the money that I had that allowed me to come to LA. Because if my money would have came through sooner, I would have paid that rent and then I wouldn't have had no money and no place to live. Mm-hmm. Literally the day after my place burned down, the money kicked in. And the person I was paying rent to was like, nah, don't pay me that money because you're going to need that to find somewhere else to live. So I was like, dang, that was true divine intervention right there. And I was stressed, yo, when is my money coming? I was upset. And I was like, oh, that's why my money didn't come through. God knew you're going to need that money.
That's your divine appointment too. That's your divine appointment. It had to happen the way it did.
That was crazy to me. I remember I was staying at the YMCA because the Red
No
Cross had
way.
gave me a room at the YMCA for 2 nights. That's how the Red Cross, everybody, if your house burned down, that's how the Red Cross help you. They give you a $50 gift card, a cup of watered down hot chocolate, a crunchy blanket, and 2 night stay at the YMCA. Merry Christmas.
Hilarious.
All you get. And I was like, now what? They were like, we did our part. Now the rest is up to you. I was like,
For 2 days?
2 days.
Jeez.
That's all they gave me. I was like, where I go now? They were like, to the welfare.
Like, the blanket was crunchy?
The blanket was mad crunchy. It sounded like notebook paper.
That's so funny. Sound like the Old Testament when you laid it.
Oh, I was mad.
Sound like the Old Testament.
Right. I was like, why the blanket crinkling?
That's funny.
Yeah, so yeah, we got some good stories, but you know, it's great when you come out of it and then you could tell it, you know, reminisce about it. But when you in it, you be like, dang, what?
Crazy. I'm still in my story. I'm still in my story.
Sure. Me too. True.
Yeah, I do well. I do well, but I have a person I'm responsible for now, and I want to buy my wife a house. I need to buy my wife a yard with some grass. And in LA, you need at least $1 million to do that.
Yeah, and I'm about to go drop Uber Eats so I can pay my T-Mobile bill.
Oh, good. It's all good.
Yo, they called me like, you owe us. I was like, give me 3 days.
So funny.
Y'all gonna get your money. Just let me deliver a few of these meals. It's crazy.
But also, you got that East Coast hustle too, because I feel like people that are raised out here, I think they take for granted the access they have to people like you and I. I only know how to hustle. I don't know how to not work. People are like, man, you work all the time. I'm like, this it. I don't know what to do with my life. This it. Ain't no days off. You know what I'm saying? So the days off I take is for my wife, but this is how I hustle. So for the fact that you're doing this and you about to go run Uber Eats and you probably had to set up and shoot some videos earlier today, like this is what we do.
Yeah, and I had some job interviews because I told you I still be doing like 9 to 5s if I can get them. And like I went to school for graphic design, so when I get the jobs, they pay well. I mean, well for some people, because some people think $20 an hour is well, but I just interviewed for one that paid $40 an hour. So I'm like, yo, give me that. But you know, it's hard because it's harder now during the pandemic because so many more people are out of work, so it's way more competition. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You said graphic design?
Yeah. But I'm not a graphic designer. I just went to school for that. The jobs that I go for are like project management, stuff like that. Because
in the meantime, you better get on these comedy club flyers. You better get on these flyers. Every comedy needs flyers.
I know. I hate doing it though.
It's all good. This is in between money. Pay that T-Mobile bill.
That's true. You right. But right now it's gonna be Uber Eats. So if y'all see me at your door, just say hello. Like, yo, it's Brooklyn. Yo, people ever recognize you in weird places? Because it's like I be on TV, right? But I'm still on my grind. So I just got a car. Before I had a car, I used to take the bus, and people be recognizing me on the bus.
That's
like,
so
you
funny.
That comedian. What you doing on the bus?
I would lie, be like, nah, I work down at the plant. I work down at the Department of Water and Power.
You did?
No, that's what I tell them.
Oh, I remember I had a day job after the Flexes because I was on the Flex and Shanice show. And then the show got canceled. And I'm like, well, I got to go back to work. So I was in my job, my little temp job in the cubicle. And this dude from the next cubicle recognized me. He like, you, he leaning over my cubicle. You from the Flex and Shanice show. What you doing here? I'm like, I'm waiting for my check, just like you.
So funny.
That's the weirdest situation to be.
The first time I ever got really noticed, I did Who's Got Jokes. And I went to New York Times Square. And this lady was like, wasn't you on Who's Got Jokes? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, hold my baby. And I'm like, hold my baby. I'm like, I'm holding my baby famous. She was like, hold my baby. And we took a picture, man. But to get recognized in Times Square, I was like,
I'm famous now.
It's
weird getting recognized though, because like people, when they recognize you, also like you belong to them. There's no boundaries. You know what I'm saying? I remember one time, like before I did comedy, I was a rapper. And I was on 106 in Park, the Freestyle Friday battle. And I had won, and then I had to come back the next day. But that one day, like I was famous overnight. Like everywhere I went, people would recognize me. And I was young, I was like a teenager. So my mom's like, go to the store and get some eggs. And I'm like, nah, they're gonna recognize me. It was so awkward, like going to the store and people like, kick a rhyme. Like, I'm just trying to go to the store. I remember one time I was crying. Something made me mad. And I was walking down the street, I was crying. And somebody was like, yo, you the one from 106 in Park, kick a rhyme. And I'm like, bro, like I literally got tears running down my eyes.
I'm gonna be on suicide watching. You want it?
Right.
You want me to freestyle?
You want me? Yeah. I was
not
like,
now, fam.
This is
not
weird.
now.
It was weird. A dude ran up to me and just hugged me. I was like, I'm being attacked. And he's like, I know you from 106 Park. It was weird. And
Yeah,
I was only famous for like 2 months.
that's
I'm like,
funny.
how
That's how I
people do
feel
this
about
every year?
Chocolate Sundaes, man. Because most people know me and I don't know them, and it's a
Oh,
weird feeling
yeah.
where we don't have no bad days. I can't go out the house with a bad day
Yeah,
because
Chocolate
once you
Sundaes.
outside, you belong to the streets. You know what I'm saying?
How'd you end up being
Um,
the host for Chocolate Sundaes?
Man, Pookie actually told me one day, and it almost made me cry in front of my friends because we was outside the Laugh Factory, and Pookie was just kind of talking about the history of Chocolate Sundays and everybody he hired, and he was like, "Yeah, I remember the day I picked you," and I was like, "What do you mean?" It was like 4 of the comics out there, and he was like, "Yeah, man." He said, "I used to test you." He said, "I had you go up behind Earthquake, I had you go up behind D-Ray, I had you go up first, I had you go up last, and every time I put you up, like you killed it." And I just remember your energy was like being a part of like the thing that I saw for Chocolate Sundays.
Mm,
And he told me he tapped me like almost made me cry because I was like, yo, I didn't, you just out here
yeah,
doing what you do. You don't know people watching because
that's
you feel
true.
so unseen most of the time out here. Like you feel just unseen in relationships. You feel unseen in acting. You feel unseen in comedy. So when somebody actually acknowledges your greatness, like you like, yo, like it's super cool. So now being the OG and knowing that I'm a part of history, like Hollywood history, it's like a crazy feeling when I see like this generation of young comics. They're like, man, you like a legend, bro. You like blah
Mm-hmm.
blah blah. And I'm like, I'm just going to work. But to them, they like, man, you a legend. You a whole legend. I'm like, I'm just getting started, bro. I'm just getting started. So it's interesting to, you don't notice you're moving, but people that have watched your career, this young comic I saw, he knew all my credits from like Who's Got Jokes. I'm like,
Dang,
what is happening right now? But
that's
I've been doing it that
crazy.
long.
They watch it, man. To y'all that don't know, Chocolate Sundays is a very, very popular show out here in LA at the Laugh Factory. Um, it's called Chocolate Sundays, and some people consider it the Black Night, but it's really
Nah,
not. It's all
nah.
like all shades of comedians go. The audience is all shades of people. It's not the Black Night, so don't let the chocolate part fool you. But it's a very coveted spot. Any comedian that really takes what they do seriously wants to be on the Chocolate Sunday stage. Like
Yeah,
that
it's probably the best live comedy show in the
it
nation,
is. It's the
probably in
best
the
live
world,
comedy show and it's the most packed. It's sold out every week,
and the longest running too.
longest running, and it's really hard to get on. Like just to audition to be on that, it's like a 2-3 year waiting list.
It's about 3 years.
3 years. Yeah.
It's about 3 years.
Yep. Some people get famous before they even get to audition.
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
It's like I'm still my date is next year, but I'm on TV now. It's really crazy.
Yeah.
But it's a great stage and it's a great room and a great place to be discovered and to discover acts that you wouldn't have known otherwise. It's
Right.
always a dope show. So
I feel like I've been doing it so long, people only know me for that. Like in LA, when
mhm.
somebody bring me to the stage, they be like, he's the host of Chocolate Sundays. I'm like, I'm a whole Emmy winner. I was on HBO's Insecure, finalist Last Comic Standing on a TV show now. But,
You won
I
an
think,
Emmy?
yeah, I won an Emmy.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Wait, what'd you win
Yeah.
the Emmy for?
TV show on CNN called United Shades of America. I was consulting producer.
What?
It's my first producer gig, man. I've been very
Wow.
blessed.
You have been blessed. I didn't even know that. But
Yep.
I've been watching you, man. I've been seeing I remember one time, I mean, I've always admired you and your work, but I remember one
Thank
time
you.
we were at I think it was some show and you were doing like audience warm up. And I'm always in awe of people who have like dope crowd work. And I was like, his crowd work is impeccable. Like you had the people cracking up. What was it like? Rhythm and flow or something like that. Was that what it
Oh, Versus
was?
and Flow?
Yeah, verses and flow.
No way. That was so much
That
fun.
that was, and I was there. I was in the audience because I was friends with somebody that was on the show, and I was like, "Oh shit, Ron
So
is
dope.
doing the warm up," and it was
Those
just
my
so
people.
funny. And you had people like cracking up. Did you always do the warm up for that show?
I just fell into it one time. I think I remember my buddy called me and was like, "Yo, we got this little small thing we want you to do. Can you do it?" And I just kind of learned it's an art to do a warm up because warm
I was
up
gonna
is
say it's
it's
different. It's
tough, man.
different
I
than
did I
stand up.
did it for the Image Awards, which was probably the toughest.
Mm-hmm.
And you only get like 2 minutes, so all my jokes now are like 7 minutes at least.
Yeah.
But they like, hey, can you do some time? We
What do
need
you
to
mean you only get 2
stall.
minutes?
Because
Oh, two
commercial
minutes
breaks,
in between
it's commercial
commercial
breaks. It's
breaks.
like real
Yeah.
time commercial breaks. And
Yeah.
they're like, hey, can you do some time and stall? And one time it'll be 1 minute, next time it'll be 3 minutes. And they're like, you have everybody sit down. I'm like, I'm sitting here, Lou Gossett and Oprah Winfrey and all my celebrities in the audience. I'm gonna tell Maxine Waters to sit down. Like, I'm gonna tell them to sit down. Like it was, and then
Right.
it's been times I got ignored because everybody who know each other, Hollywood, they standing up taking pictures with it. I'm gonna tell Oprah to sit down and stop taking pictures
Oprah,
because we
sit
need to
your ass
start.
down. You see, we about to start the show.
Right, man. It was so. I'm like, I got ignored by all my heroes. I've had some terrible moments too, but I've also had some really cool gigs. Like I used to do warm up for the Queen Latifah show.
Nice.
I've
How
done
do
it
you
for a lot
prepare
of
for that? For warm up?
be present, have fun, be
What, like,
present and have
did you
fun.
come in there with a plan? Like, all right, I'm a, because I know one guy I know that does warm up. He'll like give candy out to the audience, and he does like little trivia questions. Did you prepare stuff like that? Like, I'm gonna give them
I wasn't that
sitcom
deep. I was
trivia.
just like just trying to have a good time and comment on people. I always do well with music, so if there's music around, I do really well. But I've
Hmm.
done huge award shows with no music, and I'll be mid joke, and they're like, "All right, starting in 5 seconds." I'm like, "Oh shoot, all right, cool. Hey, thank you guys. Later." I think one of the best ones I did. I think I did Celebration of Gospel, man, and I remember Steve Harvey was hosting, and I was going out there and I was trying to give it to him, and Steve Harvey was like, "Yo, you're pretty funny, man." He said, "You have the opportunity to make millions of dollars, man. Keep doing what you're doing." And for some reason, it's one of those moments where you just to see somebody that you were watching on TV like give you kudos and say like and see you. It was a really dope moment, man.
Hmm. Wow. So did your one warm up gig uh catapult you into doing other warm up gigs, or did you all get them
That's
all
usually how it
differently?
works. If people trust you, they'll
Yeah.
refer you for other stuff, especially like a cool stage manager. Like, hey, look, I got this gig doing warm up. Can you think you can do that? Especially if you do well, because I've been doing warm up at least since like '07.
Hmm. The first time you did it though, it was just like they just asked you to come do it, and you just went out there and figured it out. How did it
Uh,
go your first time
I
doing
did
it?
a Michael Baisden TV show. I don't know if you know Michael Baisden is. Michael
Hmm.
Baisden. I did his night show, and I remember I did warm up for Who's Got Jokes. I got eliminated and wound up doing. Oh, I did warm up for the second season,
What
and
you mean you
literally
got
just
eliminated? It was
well,
part of the
so I did
competition.
first season, and the second show, the second season, I just did warm up. You know what I'm saying? So I was familiar with the crowd, I was familiar with the comics, I was familiar with the production crew. So I
Oh
just went
wait,
out there
you say
and
you were a contestant, and then they hire you to do warm up in the next
for
season.
the next season.
Oh, okay.
That was the first thing I did. I think I did that, and then I did Michael Baisden After Dark. But Michael Baisden was such a smaller studio audience, and the smaller, the easier. But because the easier, you just talk to people and have a good time. And
Mm-hmm.
then I think that transitioned me to like being able to do Chocolate Sundaes because I was always put in the fire where if something go bad in production, I'm the face of it. So if they're
Mm.
like, hey, look, we need 6 minutes instead of two, I gotta go through my set and be like, okay, if I do my 6 minutes, my 10 minutes up front, do I have enough time to do it an hour later in the show? You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
just trying to map out my set when I did it was very tough.
Is that how you got your practice doing crowd work?
I honestly, I feel like just I don't know. I just feel like just being from the hood, you just gotta be present, man. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't consider myself like a crowd work master, but I
Right.
learned that the combination of being present and doing material makes it special. One of the people that are really great at it, watching Tony Rock. Tony Rock is like one of the best hosts
Yeah.
ever. If you ever watch Tony Rock,
Tony Rock is
Tony Rock
amazing.
just talk.
Yeah.
He'll just talk
He's
and
so
want
good.
something, and something that somebody says in the audience will lead you to one of his jokes. And watching him
Mm-hmm.
do that, I'm like, oh, because I'm a student of the craft too. And
Mm-hmm.
so now I usually already have something in my head, but whatever happens, I'm flexible and I'm open to guide me in any direction.
Yeah. I watch Tony Rock close. He is so dope. And it's funny because a lot of people ask me, like, who are your favorite comedians? I'm like, yo, Tony Rock is one of them. Like, his crowd work is crazy. I always pay attention to that. And they're like, Tony Rock. I'm like, yeah, like everybody's like Chris Rock this, Chris Rock that. I'm like, y'all sleeping on Tony Rock for real.
Man, Tony Rock is brilliant, bro. He is so brilliant and very
He
underrated,
is.
but he's nice at what he does. And I seen him host Def Jam, man. He's just a really dope comic with his craft, and you can tell he takes it serious. Like he's a legend, man.
So when you first came out here, did you have like mentors that were like taking you under their wing, or you was just like flying by the seat of your
I tell
pants?
young comics, I said, man, when nobody knows you, everybody's your friend. But then when you take off, that's when people get silent, and then you become competition, which is kind of interesting. Because I
Mm.
think my generation, I was one of the first ones to like start taking off, and I
Mm-hmm.
had a lot of success in the beginning of me being out here. And so I went from being cool with a lot of my friends to people like I always give if you see me perform or people I perform with, I always give tags, like especially young comics. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, that's a little tip I tell comics. If you're trying to befriend older comics, having a tag for them is a great way to have an offering when you're trying to befriend somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Like so cats like D-Ray, Chris Spencer, I'm like, hey man, do you mind if I give you a tag? And I'll give them a tag. They're like, yo, that's dope, man. So that's my way of getting to know older comics. But um when I first came out here, I forgot what the question. I got sidetracked. What was the?
Oh, did you have like mentors?
Oh yeah. So I didn't really have any mentors, man, but I was just always inquisitive about the craft, and I just studied. I sat back and I watched comics, and I studied comics, and I don't really think I had any specific mentors, but people like Chris Spencer, Rodney Perry, David Arnold were people that I would always go to because they were in my space. Like at the Comedy
Mm-hmm.
Union, Comedy Union was like Grandma House. I don't know
Yeah.
if you've been to Comedy Union,
Oh
like just
yeah. When I
the
first came
green
out here, I
room.
used to go and because I used to be trying to get up, and I was
Right,
new to LA and pretty
right.
new to comedy. And I used to be like, "Yo, can I get up?" And he was like, I don't know. And then one day he was like, "I'm gonna put you up." So he put me
Man,
up, and he's like, "You was funny," and he actually
yeah.
paid me for going up. And he was like, calling your avails. Like he had respect for me after that moment. And it messed me up because I was so mad because I wanted to do the Comedy Union more, but at the time I didn't have a car and I didn't have money to be taking Ubers all the time. So I would take the bus, but then I couldn't take the bus all the time because I'd be scared because the Comedy Union was in kind of a sketchy neighborhood. And I
It
was like, I
was.
could get there, but waiting for the bus to go home was kind of sketchy. So I couldn't do the Comedy Union as much as I wanted to because I didn't want to get mugged. And then it closed down and
Yeah,
I got
Comedy
a
Union
car
was
now and I can't do it because it's gone.
right. Comedy Union was like going to grandma house. You see all your favorite cousins, you hang
It
out, talk, and catch up with
was.
each other. And
They
that's the
had
tough
collard
part
greens and
about
cornbread.
that's
It
the
really
that's
was
the
like
tough part
grandma.
about comedy now because we don't have a home base. Like we don't have no
Mm-mm.
green room that every comic go to because the Comedy Union was like all the celebrities that took off,
Yep.
they come back home to the Comedy Union and
Yep.
you get a chance to, catch up with people that you admire. Like Flame Monroe was my buddy and watching her take off and
Mm-hmm.
again like David Arnold and all these other big name comedies, like watch sitting in the green room and just kind of like studying them
Mm-hmm.
and sitting under them. Like Joey Wells. Joey Wells is a legend too. He a whole legend as well. And I used to watch him like sharpen his craft. I think he used to host Friday nights, but
Mm-hmm.
watching him dissect a room and like put together a set, man, was super dope. And I was asked him all the questions. So I don't think it's not as formal where you have a mentor, but I had access to people and I made myself available to people and people that I admired. I just kind of hung out with them and sat in the room and just listened to them talk.
So did you go to comedy clubs and just hang out a lot, even if you weren't on?
That's part of the game. That's LA.
Yeah,
LA is hanging
that's
out. If you don't hang out, you won't work. I got most of my
exactly.
work. I get most of my work by just hanging out. And I know, especially if you're with somebody who's very insecure and fragile and they're emotionally fragile and they need a lot of attention, it's not a good thing for a relationship. But if you're
But
with somebody,
when you
go
say
ahead.
you hang out and you get most of the work, what do you do like when you're hanging out? Are you you're talking to other comedians, but are you also talking to the booker, asking them like, yo, can I get up on this show at some point?
It's
Like,
literally comedy's 10% talent. The 90%
mm-hmm,
percent is getting to know people. And sometimes
mm-hmm,
if people see you and they're like, hey, you want to go up? And I'll get a random set. And then just that time, a booker or somebody be in the room. They're like, hey, you want to do this other thing? I've been
mm-hmm.
looking for somebody for this. Like, I've gotten so much work by doing that. So it's not a formal thing, but
Yeah.
befriending people. Because if
I'm
you
so
notice,
glad you said that because I was just on Facebook earlier today and a comedian had wrote, I don't like when I be seeing comedians just hanging out at the comedy club and they ain't even on the show. And I was like, but that's what you're supposed to do. And like
they would see
everybody
the
got in the
difference.
comments and they was like, what are you talking about? You supposed to do that. And then he
Yeah.
deleted the post because everybody like got on him. They're like, comedians are supposed to hang out
That's
at the
all
comedy club.
LA. LA is hanging out and supporting your friends, and you get to a point where you got to come hang out with support your friends. Even if you ain't up, you go out and support your friends, give them tags, and you kick
Yeah.
it. You work
Yeah.
on the set and you build your tribe, and it's very tough because everybody say LA is cliquish, but people that have known each other for like years. I've known Tony Baker for like at least 12 years. You know what I'm saying? Kev on
Dang.
stage. I've
Yeah.
known him when he was still in Tacoma. I don't,
Dang.
like Tiffany Haddish. Me and her had the same agent, and that's since '06.
Wow.
I've known these people like forever. So these are my friends, and watching my
Right.
friends take off. And I had to check myself too, because there was a time where I was getting bitter. I'm like, God, all my friends taking off. I'm sitting here like doing the right thing, working hard. What about me, God? And God was like, humble yourself. You
Mm.
celebrate everybody because when you take off, you want people to celebrate you. So get that hate out your heart. So now, if I'm
That's
out, I
true.
celebrate my friends. Like the Marlon Wayans just shot the Headliners thing for HBO. I
Mm-hmm.
had all my homies that all of us started together. I had to go support them. I had to go support them. And I felt no kind of way about not getting on it because I was happy to watch my friends take off, become stars, man.
I love that. I love that. That's amazing. And that's how you excel. Because anybody who's in this business and you see a little bit of success and then stuff slows down and then you see the people around you popping and you like, well, what about me? So it's easy to get lost in that and to compare yourself. And sometimes you got to take a step back from social media too. Like,
Oh, of course.
because
Social media take you out.
people show like the highlights, but they don't show the grind sometimes and what they're going through.
Yeah. That comparison will make you sick too.
Yeah.
It'll make your heart sick.
Yeah, that's true. But I appreciate the people who follow me on Instagram because I don't try to fake it. Like people have been watching my grind from like when my house burned down all the way to this point. You know what I'm saying? So when I blow up, I know a lot of people gonna be like, I remember when you got your first car in the pandemic, that little Saturn you had.
Yeah.
It's been crazy, man. But yeah, because I was the queen of the bus and the train. Because I'm a New Yorker, you know what I'm saying? I take the bus and the train. But then the pandemic hit, and I was like, ooh, they're gonna be breathing on the bus and the train.
They're gonna be breathing.
I'm gonna have to figure something out.
Yeah, you're breathing on the bus. Can you crack this window?
Yeah, I can't be over here.
You can't open this big window up.
Y'all love to breathe. What's that about?
I hear breathing and exhaling.
So I had to learn how. I just learned how to drive last year. I wasn't driving.
Y'all New Yorkers be so funny. Man, rest in peace, Nick Carthan, man. He was one of those guys. I was like, Nick, we would be best friends if you had a car, bro. He was like, I got my car, man, right before you passed, man. He finally got his car.
Me and Nick learned how to drive around the same time. So he hit me up. We used to hit each other up like, yo, you got on the freeway yet? He like, nah, I'm scared. Did you? I'm like, nah. I said, I got on the freeway once by accident. But as soon as I got on, I got right back on. He was like, yo, that happened to me too. Like, that was my freeway buddy. We used to be comparing like, yo,
I love that. I miss that dude so much, man. I miss that dude so much, man.
He was so cool.
He was so happy, and he finally got his life together. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, he was like, my car.
Finally got his life together. He was so happy. He was like, yo, we can be best friends, man. I got my car, bro.
Yep. Rest in peace to him. It's funny. I was going through my messages recently looking for a message from somebody else, and I saw the message from him, and I read it, and I was just laughing because we was talking about, I'm going to get on the freeway next week. He's like, you just got to do it. You just got to do it. Oh man! Every time I get on the freeway,
out too, man. He would say, "I'm gonna come pick you up, man." And the time I called him, he flaked on me. But man, like I was so happy for him. He learned how to drive. He just had a big smile on his face. He's like, "I learned how to drive. We can be best friends, man."
Yep. It made me feel good too because I felt like a clown because I was like, "Dang, I don't know how to drive. Everybody know how to drive but me." And Nick was like, "I don't," and I was like, "You're a man." I be feeling like all men know how to drive. He was like, "Nah, I don't know." We learned literally at the same time.
When we make it to heaven, I'm gonna fight Nick because he still owe me money for a haircut. I cut his hair and he didn't pay me. He was like, I'm gonna Venmo you, bro. I was like, Nick, where my money at, man? He's like, I learned how to drive. I'm like, where my money at, bro?
I give you a ride instead.
Yeah, I give you a ride. $10.
That's so funny. I be in my car cheesing. It's funny because like so many people take that for granted because they learn how to drive in their teens, you know? I learned how to drive last year. So every time I be in my car, I be cheesing. I'm like, yo, I'm in LA and I'm driving. You can't tell me nothing.
Y'all be all mouth and late bloomers. New Yorkers, y'all be all mouth. I'm out here, son. I murder these cats. And you think you can back my car out for me? Because I don't want to back my car out. I don't know how to 3-point.
Oh my God. You should have seen me trying to parallel park when I first got the car. Because the dude taught me how to drive. He didn't teach me how to park it.
So funny.
I was out there for like 2 hours trying to park the car. I kept getting out and it was like sideways. And I was like, I hate it. I was screaming. I know if anybody was watching me out the window, they were crying.
So funny.
I called my friend on FaceTime. I was like, what should I do? So funny. But I'm the queen of parallel parking now, y'all. Like, I'm really good at it now. I'm
trash unless I got a camera. If I got a backup camera, I'm good. If I ain't got a backup camera, I
ain't got no camera. My car from 1998.
Oh, yeah.
Ain't no camera.
Bless you on that.
But you know what's weird, though? I'm good at parallel parking, but the pull over and park, like it could be a whole strip of sidewalk. To pull over and park is harder for me. I be hitting that shit, scraping up my wheels. Like, it's just a whole strip of sidewalk, no other cars. I just pull up to it and park, right? That's the easiest kind of park. I'm not good at that. I be getting too close, hitting the curb, scraping up my wheels. Sometimes I park too far away from it. Sometimes I park
what am I missing? Angle. You can't pull over to park?
Yeah. I'm not, for some reason. Because
you might not be close enough to the curb?
I'm either not close enough or too close. Yeah. So I get out and be like, damn, is this much space? Now I got to get back in and park it again. But if I parallel park, that should be smooth. I don't understand why I'm better at that than the easy one. Maybe
it's all mirrors. It's all the mirrors. If you back up, because usually if it's wide open, I'll pull up close and I'll back up and I'll look at my mirror and see how much space I got.
Yeah. I'm just figuring that out. Like, I'm just figuring out, like, if it look straight on the mirror, then it's straight. Because I'll look in the mirror and it be like this, and then I get out in the car. So I'm figuring it out. It's a learning curve, y'all. It's a learning.
Proud of you.
Thank you.
So funny.
Oh my God. All right. We're going to take a quick break, y'all, and we'll be right back.
Stuzo Clothing. Women owned. Black owned. Queer owned. Made in Los Angeles. Shop now at StuzoClothing.com. Stuzo Clothing. Live your truth.
What up, y'all? We are back. It's the Rise of Brooklyn Jones. We are talking to Ron G. He has been dropping so many gems today. Oh my God, I'm so inspired. I'm always inspired by this dude, though. I hope y'all are inspired too. If you're not, it's because you wasn't listening. Rewind it back, listen to it. You're gonna be inspired.
Hey.
Okay, let me ask you. This is one of my favorite segments of the show. It's just the fun questions. And people always have fun with these questions. So, okay, the first one is, what is your most embarrassing moment?
Ooh, on stage?
In general, it could be
Oh,
on
in
stage
life?
or in life. Yeah, give me your bomb story and your embarrassing moment in life story. Give me both
Ooh,
of them.
ooh, bomb story. Man.
Then I'll give you an embarrassing moment.
So, you know what? I do have one. So, me and Evan Lonnell hired me to perform, I think in Palmdale or something like that. It was like one of them old school small towns where slow town, fast woman, little spot smell like fried chicken. Good
Yeah.
time. Good time. You know what I'm saying? Everybody dressed up to go to the show. And I remember performing, and I think this dude, I don't know if this old man had a stroke or a heart attack, but it happened during the show. And I was stuck because I was like, do I keep performing or do I stop? You know what I'm saying? I'm mid joke. I'm about 20 minutes in. I still had to do another 10. And the dude had a moment and everybody started rushing over. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. And I stood there for a while. I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm out here killing these people. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here killing them on stage. But I was like, I don't know what to do. And I remember being so awkward. And yeah, like they called the ambulance and everything. But I was still on stage. And I was like,
what was you doing? Was you still telling jokes?
No, I was
just like
narrate what was happening. I was like, cool. So I don't know what to do, y'all. I got another 10 minutes. Kind of need your help. Figure out what to do.
Oh my God.
And I was like, I hope he was okay. And I think he like recovered toward the end of my set. And I was like, hey man, I hope you okay, brother. Cool. Glad you made it. That would have been terrible. I remember that moment so well.
That's really rough.
Oh, bad. It was bad. And then probably one of my most embarrassing moments. It was probably, I think I was doing warm up for the NAACP Awards. And I remember it was every celebrity that I love. And I went blank on stage because they asked me to do 6 minutes. And I was like trying to tell everybody to sit down. And nobody listened to me. And I'm sitting here. And I think Mike Epstein, he was like, hey, man, you get them next time, man. Just make sure you have fun. And I was like, okay. And I watched all my celebrities ignore me. All my heroes ignore me on stage while in a room full of people. And
they're like, shut your ass up. We do what we want down here.
It was bad. It was bad, man.
Michael Jackson.
It was bad, man. Because he was like, yeah, we need another 3 minutes. And I was like, well, I did all my time. I don't know if I have anything else. Hey, what y'all want to talk about? And he was like, all right, cool. And I was like, please. And the guy was like, we're starting in 10. I'm like, oh, thank God. Thank God. Hey, y'all, have a good time. Ron G, see you in a bit. I was like, oh my goodness.
Did you have to go back out there after that?
I think I was done. I think that was my last time, but it was a long break because they had some kind of technical thing happen. I was like, "Oh, this is awful." It was.
And did they call you back after that to do other?
I'm not sure. I can't remember. I can't remember. But I just wanted. It was one of the moments. I was like, "Please call me. Call me off stage."
Yes.
Somebody give me the light? Can somebody give me the light?
Yeah, give me the light. I think my most embarrassing bomb story is I was in New York doing comedy, and New York is about like bringer shows. They big on bringer shows out there, and this wasn't particularly a bringer show, but they booked me on the show, so I'm thinking I'm on the show. When I get there, they're like, you gotta bark. So to everybody that don't know what barking is you got to go out in the street and solicit people to come to the show. Like, yo, you like comedy? Here, you want a ticket? So if anybody ever came up to you like, you like comedy? They're barking. So I'm going out there and I'm like, I don't know how to do that. I just do the jokes, And the man's like, come on, I'm gonna show you. So this is at Broadway Comedy Club. So he takes me out in the middle of Times Square.
Broadway, yeah.
Yes.
That's so funny.
He takes me out in the middle of Times Square and he's like, this is how you do it. He's like, Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, Jay Leno, all the comedians that you've seen on those shows are going to be here tonight. So he's lying to these people, talking about all these people going to be at this show. So he's like, come tonight, like hitting up the tourists and stuff. So we finally got these two white people. They was like, we'll come to the show. So these two white people come and sit in the show. I'm like, I ain't doing that. It's embarrassing. But I go on Facebook and I'm like, look, y'all, I got a show at Broadway Comedy Club tonight. Somebody come through, right? So I get two family members that are here from out of town. I ain't know, but they saw on Facebook. They're like, oh, we here from out of town. We'll come to the show. I'm like, it's in Times Square. So they're from out of town. So they think it's going to be some glitzy, Grammy ass big deal. Times Square. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Man, Ron, they show up to this Broadway comedy club. It's in a little ass room.
I've been there.
And yeah, the audience was the 2 white people we pulled off the street and my 2 family members. That's it. It was 4 people in the audience. Yamanika was the host. I wonder if she remembers this.
So funny.
So Yamanika's like telling her jokes or whatever, and they're like, like the hardest thing in the world to do is to get a small crowd to laugh because everybody's scared to be the first one to laugh. So nobody wants to laugh. So this other guy goes up, and then I go up, and I'm like, well, at least I got 2 people in the audience. You know what I'm saying? 2 people is rocking with me. I got up there and told my jokes, and 1 person laughed. And guess what? That 1 person wasn't one of my people. I was awful. Like, if my own family didn't laugh.
That's awful, man.
1 person laughed, and it wasn't even my cousin. I was like, y'all ain't, when I get my HBO special, y'all not coming.
That's so funny. You'll charge them at the door?
Yeah, y'all sitting
them
in the
2?
back.
Nah, you get behind the line. Y'all 3, y'all can come in.
Yeah.
Y'all 2? Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Okay. James? Nah.
Oh, that was rough. That was probably the worst show I ever had.
That wasn't the worst, but yeah, man, that's yeah.
That one, like I guess that one sticks out for me.
Boo make you strong though. Like Boo changed my life. My first time on stage, they booed me, and Boo was okay, but they told me to kill myself. And
oh God.
I don't know if you ever heard kill yourself during a set, but it definitely made me stronger. It's probably why I talk so fast. I be trying to run from the boo.
Where was this?
Uptown Comedy Club, Atlanta, Georgia. It was Apollo night, room full of dope dealers and strippers, and they all came to ruin lives. They strategically came to ruin lives. And I remember going on stage, and I saw somebody get booed before me, which is always terrifying to watch somebody get booed before you. Mm-hmm. And I got on stage and I had 1 joke, and it was terrible. My cousin gave it to me. He was a comic. He was like, "Yo, you should say this," and I was like, "All right, cool." And I said it, and it got awkward. And somebody was like, "Nigga, boo." And I was like, "Don't boo me." Then I heard, "Hey, nigga, kill yourself." Oh. And then they hit me with the boo grenades because the whole back row, I don't know if it was comics or what, all I heard was, boo.
Oh, I never heard of that.
Playing. Oh, they had boo grenades.
That's hilarious.
And then, they got creative with this Atlanta. Everybody creative with the boos. And then the DJ started playing the Jeffrey Osborne, like, "I did my best, but my best wasn't good enough."
Oh, that
and
hurts.
The door was right here, and I'm like, "Do I run? Or I sit here and take this boo?" I ain't never been booed before. I'm like, I was just like this. I'm like, "Oh, this is terrible."
I never been booed before, but I'm still a young comic. I ain't been everywhere yet, so I haven't even been on the road yet. Can you believe that? Because it's hard. Like, I don't want to go on the road by myself. A lot of comedians go on the road by themselves, and that's not something that I'm going to do. That's actually dangerous.
Yeah. The second phase, I think the comics, like when you get to LA trying to find your voice, the second phase is doing colleges. And I feel like colleges might be a little different now, but for me, that's how I got on the road. I did 100 colleges, and that was the beginning of me starting to make a little money.
Did you do that NACA thing?
Yeah, I did AllBlk. AllBlk is like equivalent to NACA, but like just different. I think it's like smaller schools like Division 2, 3, and college, like community colleges, but I did 100 of those. And,
damn.
It was, to me, I made a lot of money, but the travel was painful. It was brutal because it was by myself, and I spent a lot of time by myself, and I didn't like it. Yeah,
I did. I applied for the NACA thing, but I didn't get it. I got to apply again. But I was like, every time I apply, I got to pay? I don't know. Last time I applied, it was like $150 just to apply to go.
That's it? I thought it was way more than that.
No, like, it was like $150 to just to submit, you know what I'm saying? Before I even audition or anything like that. It was just $150 to submit like my bio and picture or something like that.
If you get it, please call me, because I'll help you work on your set, because what you want to do is work on your Nickelodeon set. You got to work on the clean of clean sets. Most comics go out there trying to do their club set and it don't work. You got to be super clean, and when you get to the school, you can, do what you do, because students are different when their advisors around. And so the advisor is it's like when your pastor around, you like, do I laugh? Is pastor laughing? You know what I'm saying? Once you get to the school, you can cut loose and have a good time.
My set's pretty clean for the most part, though. Like, I don't really talk about anything raunchy. I really don't curse in my sets. It's pretty clean for the most part. It was crazy because I just auditioned for America's Got Talent. Nice. And I mean, I thought my set was clean, but they were like, "No, you got to change all of this." And I was like, "Well, damn." And they made me do it like 3 times. Huh?
No way.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm clean. I didn't say anything wrong, but they were like, "You made a homeless joke. You can't laugh at homeless people." And it wasn't really laughing at the homeless people, but the joke was about a homeless person. They're like, "No, you can't I had to do that set over like 3 times. That was kind of hard, and it was like I had to go in and do that set, and so I was like, I'm doing my clean Nickelodeon set. But the show that I did, I don't know, the whole show went awry, so I ended up not even being able to do that set because the comedians before me got the audience all riled up, so they wasn't trying to hear the BS that I was talking about. So I had to do like whole left field jokes, and then I was like, damn, now I don't have my America's Got Talent set. I don't even know what happened to that. I mean, I submitted and it's out of my hands. When you audition for stuff, you gotta let it go. You can't be dwelling on it because you be
I had a
sitting there like,
horrible
oh,
America's
yeah.
Got Talent audition. Like, it was awful. It was so bad. It
You
was
did it
so bad.
live, right?
I did it live. It was
Oh
terrible
yeah,
because
I
it
just
was
sent them the
at
tape.
CBS, but I think the show is on NBC maybe.
Yeah.
So I get there, it's Sharon, David Hasselhoff, and some I don't even know who the third person was.
Oh, so you made it on.
Yeah, but it went
Yeah,
bad. It
mine,
went terrible.
I ain't make it on the screen. It's still a preliminary.
Man, so I got mad because I was like, yo, can I at least see the audience? Because I didn't know what to talk about. I was like, can I see the audience? They was like, you can't see the audience until you go out. I'm like, I'm a comic. I need to see the audience before I go out. And they was
Yeah.
like, no, you have to stay out here. And so stay back here. So when I finally went out, I did my set. And as soon as I started talking, I got an X. I'm like, wait, what? And then
Damn.
I was like, this is CBS. And I was like, can a brother stay? Or something like that. And they was
Yeah.
like, because it's not CBS, it was NBC. They was just
Oh.
shooting on the CBS Live. They was like, that's not gonna air. And so they gave me another X. And I was like, wait, what? And so I had to stand before the judges. And I was like, yo, like, what y'all give me an X? And David Hasselhoff, he was like, your comedy was average. And I was like, and your acting is too.
Ooh.
And
No,
they
you
kept
didn't.
it.
They
And
kept that?
it. Yeah, they kept it. They played it on the worst of. And I was like, and your acting is too.
Oh,
It was
that's
funny.
hilarious. I love it. Shit, you made it then. You made it because like a comedian's goal is not to win America's Got Talent. It's just
Nah,
to
you
make it
don't
on
win.
the screen.
Right.
You just want to get on there. You don't want to win. They
Right.
own you if you win anyways. You don't really want to win. You just want to
Mhm.
get on there. So shit, you did it.
Yeah. They
That
played it
is
during the worst of America's Got Talent. It was pretty fun though.
the worst of. Oh man, that is hilarious. Okay, I have one more question. No, I have 2 more questions actually.
Go
Do you
ahead.
have a weird or special skill that most people don't know you have?
Weird or special skill
Mm-hmm.
that I would do on stage?
No, just in general. Like, I don't
Oh,
know. Some
I
people know
love
how
to
to bend their
dance.
arm backward, huh?
Oh no, not weird. I know how to dance. I used to dance a lot before I started doing comedy, which kind of like it was a gateway drug to doing stand up.
Was you trying
And
to be
so
like a background dancer or something like that?
all that I was you couldn't tell me I was Usher growing up. I was definitely Usher.
I love it.
Step shows, every step show, I would have a dance solo in my step shows at my college. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I feel like that was the thing. Most people that know me from back home, they be like, yo, they call him a dancing machine. They call me Genuine because I love dancing.
I always wanted to dance, but I realized I couldn't. I used to be trying to pick up Janet Jackson's dance steps in my room, and I'd be like, I can't do none of this. That's when I realized I couldn't dance. Yeah, I was like, and I was in dance class too in high school, but when I realized I can't dance, I switched over to art. I was like, yeah, this
That's
ain't
so
it.
funny. How you all hard and tough, and when you like doing ballet,
I was
light on
trying.
your toes.
I was heavy on my feet. That's why I switched to art. I was like, I
Happy
can't do
feet.
it. Heavy. But yo, you on a sitcom now, yo. That's so dope. Your character is
blessed, man.
hilarious too. You are literally
super
my
dope. You
favorite
saw
character
it?
on the show. I have. I
Oh,
watched
super cool,
the
man.
first 3 episodes, I think, but yeah, it's funny.
Super blessed. They let me be myself on camera, which never happens. Usually you
Yeah.
playing a character that you're not, but they let me go. They
I'll
was
be
like,
wild. I'll be like, yo, Ron is silly as hell. You and your banter between you and the other girl that
oh,
I think she's her
Chloe.
assistant or something like that. Yeah.
Chloe, yeah, Chloe's super dope. She's like my Pam.
Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
about to say it reminds me of like Martin
Yeah.
and Pam, the way y'all just be going at each other. I love that. How did that come to be? How did you end up on that show?
Man,
We're
I
talking
think
about
I knew some of the writers, and they was like, "Yo, we writing something, and we kind of got you in mind, but we'll see what happens."
nice. We're
And
talking
I
about Partners
auditioned.
in Rhyme, you guys, starring Ron G and MC Light.
Yeah,
But anyway,
man.
go ahead.
And I auditioned for it, and I did pretty well. And they was like, "Yo, we love it. Can't wait to see you on set." And I was so nervous because MC Light is a legend. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy to see somebody you only seen on TV. I've seen her on TV since I was a baby. Like,
Mm-hmm.
she's been on TV that long. But
Yeah.
to see her in person, I was like, "Yo," because they hired me to be the comedy relief for the show, and I just
Mhm.
felt like I had this weight on my back. And when we was getting our nose swabbed for COVID, she walked up to me and she hugged me and she was like,
Aw,
"I'm glad you can make it." And for some reason, all my stress, everything just left
that's
because it's
dope.
kind of like gave me the okay, like we hired you specifically to do what you do, so clock in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And it was just a refreshing feeling to like know that you're in good hands and with good company. And yo, that
that's
show was
so
awesome,
nice.
man.
What was your audition process like?
It
Did
was
you have to
during
like audition more than once and do screen tests and all that, or was it like one audition?
it was I think we had 2 rounds. I had 2 rounds and
Mm-hmm.
both via Zoom, and
Mm-hmm.
I had to
Oh,
send my
it's on
tape in.
Zoom.
Yeah, it was Zoom. I had to send my tape in. It was definitely peak COVID, and when we thought
Mm-hmm.
we was gonna die because of outside air. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, just the outside air was gonna give us COVID. You know what I'm saying? Just exhaling like
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna
We
be
were
sick.
scared.
You're gonna be sick and catch pneumonia. But yeah, man, it was all via Zoom, and I just remember when I got it, I was so happy. I was just like, again, just being out here booking a series regular role is a big deal in LA.
That is a big deal. That's
Cause
what
they,
everybody's goal is. Well, most people's goal. Some people just
uh,
they just want to be a tour
it's a game
comic, but
changer when you don't
yeah.
know. Because I remember when I booked the series regular role on Nickelodeon as a dad, like it changed my life because you spend your whole time out here trying to be seen,
Mm-hmm.
and the moment you get it, people treat you different. Because I remember being in
Mm.
that audition, and they was doing like a round robin of trying to match up family members or whatever, and I
Mm-hmm.
was auditioning with people I grew up watching being dads on TV when I was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, I'm in the room with them. But I remember when I was reading my lines, they was like, "Hey, we hear you're a comedian. We hear you hosted Chocolate Sundaes, right?" I'm like, "Yeah," and they was like, "We would love to come see you." And I was like, "I'm in audition. Like, what are we doing right now?" Like,
Right.
usually they just business, like, "Hey, thank you so much," and whatever. But they started asking about my personal life and asking about my family, and I was like, "Wait, this is okay."
Yeah.
And after that day, you got white people on set, like, "Hey, can I get you anything, sir? Do you need anything? Can I get you anything?" And I'm like, talking to me, and it changed, and you're like, oh, this is what it's like. This is why people become jerks when they get on something,
Mhm.
because you go get treated like trash most of your career, and then you go from this and you get
Yeah.
used to it.
That's wild. Is that your dream? Has that been your dream? Like, do you feel like you realized your dream, or like, what is your
I'm in
your
it.
goal?
I'm
You're
in
in
it.
it.
I feel like I've proven that the things that I want in my head, I'm capable of doing. Like, to carry a TV show is a
Mm-hmm.
really great feeling. To be a series
Mm-hmm.
regular and be the standout to where people are like, yo, you're hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
I'm capable of carrying my own show. And just knowing how to do that makes me super happy. Nickelodeon taught me how to do stillness on camera because
Mm.
as comedians, we feel like we got to move to be funny.
Yeah.
But because I was the dad and the kids were like really rambunctious and playful, I learned how to steal my laughs from being still. And it's something that is a very,
Mm-hmm.
something you learn in acting class where like saying, "What are you guys doing?" versus like, "What are you guys doing?" That is
Yeah,
a bigger laugh being still than doing all this motion. That
that's
taught me
true.
stillness. And then the Partners in Rhyme showed me how to steal a scene, but also give it back.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Because Bentley would let me go. The great Bentley Evans, he produced Martin and the Jamie Foxx show. He was like, "I got an X camera on you. Whatever you want to do, if you want to go run in the bedroom, you can do that." And I was like, "You sure?" And he was like, "I got you." So
Mm.
they let me go, and I never had a chance to do that on camera. And it just taught me um, blocking, and
Yeah,
it taught me how to get my laughs and then throw it back to the people who were delivering lines.
I love that. So, do you feel like what's your favorite accomplishment so far in your career?
Man, probably two things. One was Insecure. Being on Insecure, I felt like I had a chance to be a part of history. Insecure
Mm-hmm.
was the blackest, dopest TV show I've ever done in my life. Being on a TV show where hair and makeup was black,
That's dope.
director was black, showrunner black, cast was black. I ain't never seen that before. Because usually I be the only black person on set, and I gotta cut my hair before I get on set because I'm like, I know they ain't gonna have no brush or no hair and
Right.
makeup.
Issa
So
Rae is
I
so
was,
dope for that.
oh man, and just being a part of history for me, that was like the dopest thing ever. And I had a small part, but I feel like my part was very impactful, and it made
Mm-hmm.
me super happy. And then probably winning an Emmy. That that experience, being on a show on CNN, it was like peak uh, Cheeto Jesus
Mm-hmm.
presidency. It was
That's
the height
hilarious.
of that, and being on tour. We traveled for 8 weeks, and we went to all the places of the marginalized people during that time. We went to um, Sioux Falls. We went to North Dakota when they had the Dakota Access Pipeline with the Native Americans, and they wanted to
Mm-hmm.
build a pipeline through sacred territory. We went there. We did gangs in Chicago. We did Muslims and immigration. We did one on Islam. We did, man, we did so many great episodes. But to be a part, and we went to Puerto Rico, and I learned the nuances of all these marginalized people that changed my comedy. It took the top off of it. Like learning that during that time when they had kids in cages, humans were locked up literally 3 hours away from any major city. So, and in those places where they had the people locked up, there was no programs. In prison, you have programs. You can get a degree, you can learn a trade, you can, I feel like they be having prison recess, whatever they be doing playing basketball. They had none of that. These people were just locked up in these, I'm gonna say concentration camps where nobody went to go see them. And so even if you found a lawyer that would do your case pro bono, it's 6 hours round trip, 3 hours to get there, 3 hours back in the middle of nowhere. And so this Christian organization that we partner with would send care packages to these people just to check on them while they were locked up. And they had the little metal, aluminum foil blankets. They didn't have nothing. And they were locked in cages all this time. Like, it's bad. Like, but we don't know that. That's not the part to put on TV because it's not good. It's not good TV. It makes our country, it's a black eye in our country, but being a part of that stuff. And then we went to the Reagan Center during the alt-right convention. I don't know if y'all remember the guy named Richard Spencer. He was the alt-right guy. Alt-right is basically pro-country racist people. He the guy who got punched in the eye, but they had a meeting at the Reagan Center. It was called the alt-right convention, and there was no black people there. And they were talking about how black and brown people bring down property value, how it's always crime when we're around. And the only black people there was security and the people serving food. And I'm upstairs taking notes, and I almost had tears in my eyes hearing these people talk about us. And I'm like, in the Reagan Center, in a government building, talking about how terrible black and brown people are and interviewing them. And it's just, and this is like, I think it was around George Floyd.
You probably felt scary too, being the only black one.
It was terrifying. But also I realized that America is a bunch of subcultures. Like, it's a subculture. It's the unseen, corny guys in school. In that environment, they have a platform. In that environment, the cool kids, the uncool kids that you would never notice in school, in that environment, in that racist environment, they had a voice. So they wanted to be a part of it. And so when we interviewed them, we're like, hey, so why would you want to be a part of this? They was like, oh, well, we just, some of the ideals, they were talking about, we kind of agree with it. We're not racist at all. We just, we agree with, we like.
Racists love to say we're not racist. That's their favorite song.
Yeah.
I guess you are racist. Just because you say you're not racist doesn't take it away.
It changed my life.
I'm sure. Wow. That's amazing. And it's amazing because you won that Emmy, but that wasn't even for comedy. That was some serious stuff right there.
But I took a job that I didn't want to do at this concert, and I got that job because I said yes to another job. You know what I'm saying? So that's how comedy is. Comedy be the one thing you like, I don't want to do this job. And then that one job that you didn't want to do changed your life.
Wow. That's true. So sometimes you got to say yes. Dang.
Not to everything, but you never know what changed your life.
Yeah. Okay. Last question, and I'm going to let you get up out of here because I know you're a busy man and got things to do. All right. What is your favorite struggle meal? Like if I know you ain't struggling or nothing, but like sometimes like back in the day when you was broke, there was still something that you like to eat that only cost you like $2 to $5. You like, you know what? This cheap, but it's good. What is that meal for you? Like you balling now, but you'll still eat it.
I asked this question online a while back. That's so funny. Oh. So I got two that I love. I got two struggle meals that I will always eat probably for the rest of my life. I'm from the South, so for breakfast we eat rice and eggs. Basically like leftover rice you would have. Yeah. You scramble an egg in, you scramble it up. Yeah. And add a little salt and pepper to it. Look, incredible. I could eat that forever.
That is good.
I feel like also I love hot dogs with a little burn on them. So I feel like
hot dogs are the bomb.
You gotta have
what
a little burn.
What brand of hot dogs do you eat?
I don't know. On sale. Now
he
probably
said on sale.
Yeah, probably turkey, dogs or whatever. But
you don't eat beef?
I eat beef. I feel like turkey my go-to. I don't know why.
Okay, since you like hot dogs, I'm gonna tell you this: boar's head. Have you ever had boar's head?
Of course.
Boar's head in the oven. When you bake those and they turn brown, they get real crispy.
Those are the ones. You baking hot dogs? I ain't never heard of that before.
You won't bake them? I only bake them. Put a boar's head hot dog in the oven on like 400 and let it get brown. That'll be the best thing you ever had in your life.
Yeah.
It's mad crispy. But
is that a glizzy? Don't y'all call it
glizzy? That's a glizzy.
Hilarious. So please help me out. What is exactly is a glizzy? I hear New York people mention it all the time, but what exactly is it?
You know what's funny?
And
At
where the
first,
name
a
come from?
glizzy was a gun. And then all of a sudden they started calling it hot dogs. Calling hot dogs glizzies. I have no idea where that term came from because, you know, I've been living in LA for the past 7 years. I don't know what the hell they doing over there in New York, but I know that they call hot dogs glizzies and that apparently you look gay if you eating one.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: is the hot dog itself like the actual meat, or is it the bun and the hot dog together? Like, what makes it a glizzy?
I think it's just a hot dog because it's shaped like a dick. It's stupid. But
Got
that's
you.
what it is.
Yeah.
And they play tricks on people, like if somebody falls asleep with their mouth open, they put a hot dog in it. Just dumb, ignorant
Hilarious.
stuff. You know what I'm saying? I don't know where the foolishness came from, but it is.
That's so funny.
It's dumb.
So funny.
Yo, thank you so much for taking the time out to chat with me today. This has been enlightening. This has been fun. Oh man, I love hearing your stories. It's been inspiring too.
Thank you.
Tell everybody where to find you.
Every Thursday night, I do Q&A with Babe with my wife. Super dope time. We do that on Instagram Live, comedian RONG. Every Sunday night, every other Sunday night, I'm at the world famous Laugh Factory at Chocolate Sundaes Comedy Show, comedian RONG. I post all the details. I think we got approved for another season of Partners in Rhyme. Not official yet, but I think so. I got a movie coming out with MGK, Machine Gun Kelly, which I'm very excited about. Not sure when. I got a movie right now on Pluto TV called Swipe Right, or just Swipe. It's on Pluto TV right now, which is a free cable network, and I think I might have a Super Bowl spot. So we'll see what happens. If you can, check it out. Super excited about it. A lot of moving parts, and I just booked a lead for a short film that I'm super excited about called Terry. So
dope. Yeah. Thank you everybody for listening. And I'm also going to put all of his socials and everything in the comments below so that y'all can just click on it and get right up on there.
Thank you very much.
Bye, y'all.
Clean. Later, y'all.
I started out with nothing. That's why I call my cash flow Benjamin Buttons. Cause my dollar bills might be wrinkled and small, but when they grow up, smooth out and get tall, you could call me new money. But I really got a hold on it. I'ma keep my bread till it starts growing mold on it.